Alright, today we're going to be jumping back into the Bitcoin price action here on TradingView, talking about this trend that we are backtesting. We're going to be talking about the pixel touching on the single prints, as well as a lot of, orders in the order books I'm seeing. We're going to cover how S&P is still range bound, how the dollar is looking pretty 50-50 as well, and then finally how the altcoin market is continuing to build strength. And before we do jump into the charts, I got to announce BingX is hosting another event for you guys for the entire month of July. If you use my sign up link in the description, you will be qualified to go ahead and use the event link to get a bunch of limited time rewards up to 7,300 USDT, including a really simple first task. Deposit $50, you get $50 as a bonus voucher. So essentially free money in my opinion. If you are at all interested, make sure to use those links in the description down below. So let's go ahead starting off with some of these Bitcoin charts. We'll actually look at the CME chart because we did talk about the CME gap that was likely to form from yesterday, and you have seen we have confirmed a pretty large CME gap to the downside. This is a potential level we could retrace back into and find support within, and that also lines up with our swing low, swing high golden pocket within there. So a nice fill of this would get us, pixel perfect at that level, and it would make a lot of sense to have that happen. But if you remember, we had a very similar thing happen at the lows. We had this CME gap down here right at that golden pocket. There was a lot of limit longs looking to open positions in here, and the price just went ahead and front ran them and continued on up, leaving all of these orders needing to FOMO in higher. So yeah, I would not rule out the scenario in which we do the same thing again and just kind of continue on up and just kind of leave everyone in the dust. However, I will say we have been respecting this channel, so resistance is resistance until it is flipped into support. But it is just the trend line. It's a retail channel, right? I don't put too much weight on these, and we have actually gotten through the volume level, and I would actually put more weight on this volume level. So if we are able to come down, backtest this as support, and kind of trade sideways, get above this trend, that could be your sign that we are gonna squeeze on up to these higher liquidity levels that I do think are very likely to get grabbed at this point. We also have the 5.8 and 618 right below us. Those are your fibs from the macro swing low, swing high. You can see from this low all the way down at 56K to those highs at 72K, we do get this golden pocket, which we had lost, and we want to get this flipped back into support now. So these are some levels I'll be looking at, right? The volume confluence on the 5.8 as well as the 618, as well as the 6.5, the 6.6 with like mid-channel trend, that sort of thing. So, we could see that kind of like smaller pullback within here, just kind of sweep this low, sweep those real late longers within there, or we could certainly do the full reversal all the way back down to these volume levels. Take out all of your longs that were opened throughout this move, and then after that full flush, we could just do a back test on the bottom side of this trend because we didn't really do it. You can see we kind of just broke through the trend without a back test, so certainly don't roll this out of the equation. This would still be a bullish back test. Before continuing on up, we could pull all the way back to like 60,500 to sweep this, and that would still be bullish. And even, coming down all the way to the CME gap, we could come all the way down to this lower CME gap at around the 786 now. This is a likely area for price to want to go, sweep all the liquidity, right? Full flush before continuing on up. All of these scenarios could still be bullish corrections. I wouldn't be too worried if we do come back down to any of this stuff. We could even sweep the low all the way back here, as long as we're not losing the 58K region, holding this wick from May 1st, right? As long as we're holding that, all bullish corrections, nothing really to worry about. Where it would get sketchy is obviously losing that, right? We don't want to lose this low. That would deviate every other cycle. So we're just going to have to wait and see what kind of happens here. But the fact that we did not grab this stuff first, right? We didn't grab these poor highs, any of the inefficiencies here. I think it is more likely that we actually do start flipping some of these higher levels into support and kind of just squeeze on up to that, which would be actually very bullish if we got the correction earlier on. Because I was saying in my last video, probably get a sweep all the way up to these levels and then come back down to the golden pocket. But if we backtest the golden pocket now, maybe we just break through this stuff and continue on up. Just some things to think about, right? We're just coming up with probabilities, possibilities, that sort of thing. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but a lot of these levels have been being respected pretty perfectly. If we go over here to Trading Light, you can see the single prints that we have on the chart got tapped, and we got a pixel touch on those single prints, finding resistance within them and then coming back down now. So where would it likely find support if we're just basing this off single prints? Well, as we talked about, we made a lot of inefficiencies in that first move up, sitting right above $61,000. So do not be surprised if we do come all the way back down here, right? Flush all of those long positions, and this would be right here on the TradingView chart, right? Testing this previous range high as support could be something that happens if we were to pull a fixed range for you. Let's just do this whole full bottom end range within here, that actually comes out to the point of control. So I'd be looking at these levels right here. We got point of control and value area high. We also have, value area low right within these other volume levels. So yeah, each of these like dashed white lines that I've put in the chart here can be acting as big support for us if we were to pull back. Value area high back test, maybe sweep the point of control, getting back above value area high. All possibilities, all levels to be watching out for. And let's talk about the order book. So we're seeing more buying or selling pressure at this level, and it's certainly more selling pressure. You can see up here we got a lot of big walls in the order book. 700 Bitcoin wall. Up higher we got a lot of 500 up to almost 1,000 Bitcoin sell wall over here on Binance, sitting above those sweep levels, and that's the bigger level I'm going to be targeting. And they're being patient, waiting for the full sweep, and I do expect Bitcoin to probably come up here and sweep this, and I'm not really too worried until this happens, right? I think that's going to get grabbed no matter what, but certainly be cautious if we do come up here. We got a lot of sellers, that sort of thing. Don't be fumbling in when we do start breaking up, past 64K, that sort of thing. Even right now, we do just have a lot of sellers in the order books, so clearly expected to find some resistance in here. But what I do like to see is that you can see this wall didn't get filled, and he added to his wall after price had already reversed. That's a telltale sign that this is a spoof wall and not an actual wall in the order books. He is adding onto this position to try to just bring down price. So there's possibility he is filling long positions, or there's possibility he's already in a short and he's just using this to help push price down. But that is more or less bullish because I'm assuming that is an artificial sell wall. It's artificial selling pressure. So that's something to take note of. Obviously, I don't know for sure if that's a spoof wall, but that's just what I'm assuming. And to finish off with the TA over here on Bitcoin, should have mentioned we had a 1 hour bearish divergence within here as well. So this could have been your sign that we were going to roll over, 1 hour bear div into trend. Makes sense why we're getting a little bit of a correction here. But I will say with the RSI, what I'm noticing is with how low we are right now, I do expect this to probably create, assuming we come down here to maybe some of these lower volume levels, sweep this to backtest value area high, then I would expect at that point you will have a 1 hour hidden bullish divergence, higher lows on price, lower lows on RSI. That's one of the best things you can see on the chart. I actually prefer hidden divs over regular divs, so let's see if we can get that to play out if we do pull back to that middle trend of the channel. Now let's go ahead and jump into the S&P, and as I said at the beginning of the video, it is just range bound, not too much to talk about, but we are kind of respecting these volume levels. So let's see if we can start flipping more of them into support than resistance. We did already sweep this low. This kind of concerned me because of how poor all of this was in here, but yeah, coming down, taking this out, we actually did grab most of it within here. I mean, this is probably an 886 pullback, swing low, swing high. Oh yeah, through the 886, almost all the way tapping at that low. So it's not too bad. I like how we took out a lot of these previous lows, but still not the cleanest chart in the world. Still very 50-50 on where we're going to go. This is still a very good high up here, and you can see price is just having a hard time getting back up even into some of these imbalances. So let's see if we can see price start backtesting this support, coming up here, getting above value area high. And then obviously if we can break all-time highs once again, that will give us clear skies for Bitcoin. Right now, I think a lot of market participants are kind of scared just because of where the S&P is at. We've had a big parabolic move throughout this entire year. So whenever you do start getting pullbacks, people will caution if it's the high or not. I will say though, this looks pretty decent as long as we can just start moving up here. It just looks like a smaller consolidation period than what we've had, right? Essentially, you can see every time we've had a pullback on the S&P, throughout 2023 and 2024, they have been getting shorter. So this last little consolidation, in my opinion, is probably more likely to just be your last mini pullback within here, just tiny bit of consolidation and range boundness before firing off into that final parabola where the S&P goes on to make that blow off top. And that's where your final top does come in, and then it's kind of over for the U.S. markets for quite some time. I do expect a kind of like a big recession to come, potentially even call it the Great Depression 2.0, just because of what employment data, Fed monetary policy, and fractals are telling me when it does come to the macro here. So definitely reason to be cautious, but I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we're still going to have this blow off top. I think we really don't have to worry too much until 2025, that sort of thing. So we'll see how this reacts. We'll see if we can start marching on up here to make that final wave of the parabola. And then for the DXY, the dollar currency index, really not too much to talk about here at all. Still just kind of hanging out within this area, but we do have lower highs now and lower lows. So let's see if we can maintain trend and start coming down here to this value area high of this like macro range we've been in throughout 2023. And within this downtrend here, we should see risk on assets and all of that good stuff start firing off. This is where Bitcoin should make its move up to all-time highs once again. And then once we do get down here, this is the question, right? Are we just going to like deviate, come back up, backtest this as support? Or are we actually going to backtest it as resistance and come down to the 100 level, which would kind of give us room for a true super cycle on Bitcoin. So we'll have to watch this, see what happens. But so far, so good. We're definitely trending down on the dollar, which is what you want to see because it's inversely correlated, right? And then we'll talk about the altcoin market. I said it was still maintaining strength. I don't know why I said that at the beginning of the video. We do see Bitcoin actually regaining strength over here on the dominance, but the trend is still down. We're just kind of coming back up to test this daily EMA. So this is a big level for your altcoins. Is Bitcoin going to be able to flip this into resistance, or is it going to be Bitcoin season once again and we're going to come up and break this trend, something like that? We will have to wait and see, but I do kind of expect the trend to continue, right? The trend is your friend to the end of the trend, and we have started to trend down here on the dominance, meaning altcoins are going to outperform. And if altcoins are outperforming, that is bullish because altcoins usually are not just going to outperform Bitcoin in a down market. So I would expect the altcoins to kind of make a range break here. If it's not today, eventually, just because of all of these kind of poor highs we're making up here, right? This range has been respected pretty cleanly, whereas your lows just aren't quite as clean. You can see there's buying pressure really pushing up these lows against the highs. So I would kind of expect this trend to continue and for us to keep pushing up against the top of the range until we do finally break out to the upside. So yeah, altcoins are still looking real good. I think we have started kind of the altcoin season, but we're not quite at that part of the season where just everything is mooning, right? There's only specific coins that are really moving right now, and we really have to see a breakout here for the whole market to go all at once. But so far, so good. I like that we were able to get all the way up here on Bitcoin, and with the fact we haven't swept any of this liquidity higher tells me we are still targeting this stuff, and any pullbacks we have within here are healthy. But yeah, if you do have any questions about anything I talked about or just want to join the community for this channel, make sure to join my Discord. Link is in the description down below. Also, don't forget BingX is hosting that new limited time event with me throughout the month of July for some really awesome rewards. So definitely go check that out as well. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.